and I've seen that whilst working with you in terms of diversity and inclusion all throughout your career. What's been your driver for that?
Well, I suppose initially it was sort of a feeling of fairness for me, as it were, as in I wanted to be working somewhere where, as a junior lawyer, I wanted to be working somewhere where I could see myself progressing in the same way as other people who joined at the same time as me, and where there wouldn't be, a barrier to progressing, promotion, and doing well. And then as I got a bit older and more senior, I think I had perhaps a more sophisticated approach to it, and actually began to realise that having a diverse firm and working in a diverse team was actually good for business, for client development, and actually, led to us performing better, giving better advice to clients.
Could you give us some examples of where you've advocated for those changes?
No one stands out for me particularly, because it's something I think we should try and do in all the circumstances, but there are certainly cases where we have been thinking about recruitment decisions, and some people have formed a view about the candidate based on how she behaved and her attitude, and we've been able to persuade people that actually you need to go a bit deeper than that, because someone seems a bit quiet in some situations or social situations, they're not as forthcoming, that actually there is potential there, and we should go for that. And I think we've been successful in that in our group.
Hilary, we've been working in the insurance sector, and that's notorious for being not particularly diverse. Looking back in your time within the insurance sector, what's been the biggest changes in terms of D&I in that sector?
Well, I think it's an industry where there are big differences depending on whether you're looking perhaps at the London market and the Lloyd's market, or whether you're looking at some of the life insurance companies that we work with. And I think across all of those companies have seen an increased focus and an understanding that diversity would be better for the industry, but some of them have had more success in following that through. And I think if you look, for instance, at Lloyd's, I think they've addressed and they've realised that there are still cultural issues which need to be addressed, not just around gender diversity, but other types of diversity. At the other end of a spectrum, we have a life insurance client that we work for, where when we did our pitch to be on their panel, the discussion around diversity and inclusion was really the thing they were most interested in, and we actually spent our time talking to them not about our insurance capability, but around the issues and how we were tackling D&I questions. And so they were very, very interested in that, and that's because it is genuinely important to them. They are a very diverse team, and they want to know that their advisors share those values.
Whilst they've got quite different approaches depending on the types of insurers they are, I guess for some of the Lloyd's markets, for example, there's a lot of work going on there, isn't there, in terms of trying to promote D&I and perhaps learning from some of the other types of insurers as well. And do you think there are any major trends?
I'm not sure, but I think that it will be interesting to see what impact COVID and working from home has had and continues to have, in the sense of that has introduced, even to industries which wouldn't have necessarily thought of themselves as very flexible, a huge change in mindset around flexibility and FaceTime. And if you take Lloyd's, there's a lot of people saying, well, now there's nobody in the Lloyd's building, there's nobody on the box because they're working remotely. And I think that has helped, and that will help diversity and flexibility.
Reflecting back and looking back at it, has it changed the way that you personally see D&I?
Yes, as in when I accepted a job offer from Clifford Chance, one of the drivers was that one of the partners who interviewed me was a woman litigator who I knew had a family, and that made me think that it was the sort of firm which I would rather join than some of the others where there didn't seem to be any visible women. But I think that's a sort of fairly simplistic focus, and at that point partners like her and other role models in the corporate practice sort of got where they were by sort of being honorary men, by sort of downplaying all the differences. And I think what we've seen very positively over the last, over that quite lengthy period since the 1980s is actually people being celebrated and succeeding because of the differences and not trying to conceal those.